So, what to talk about today with respect to the Pharisee and the tax collector? Well, I would like to start with the fact that it's almost Halloween. I know there was a lot of trick-or-treating and stuff that went on yesterday, so we're almost past Halloween, but I'm going to ignore that for now because Halloween's still on Thursday. Besides candy, what do we think of when we think of Halloween? You know, costumes, right? Dressing up as someone or something else. It's fun, right? Kids love it. Plenty of adults still enjoy that part of Halloween. It's fun to pretend that you're your favorite superhero or a monster or whatever. I actually don't have all that many amusing anecdotes about Halloween. I've got one that's close, though. Back when I was in college, the club I was in, which was not a frat, for the record, we had one party a year, one formal party a year. That was enough for us. We weren't really partiers. We called it Around the World, and the idea was every floor of our building had a different theme. And then we'd all start in the basement and work our way up to third floor. So one year, I was living in second floor that year. And after chatting about it with everybody else, it turned out there would be exactly 7 of us on second floor attending the party that year. So we decided to go as the 7 deadly sins that year for our theme. And it worked out really great. My friend Alex, whom I am still friends with today, he was gluttony. He served donuts. We all agreed that I would be pride, and I was in charge of entertainment. I'm sure that comes as a shock to none of you. And Dessa was the sweetest, gentlest, quietest person you could ever ask for. So for laughs, we made her be Wrath. She was the most unwrathful person you'd ever meet. But she was a very good sport about it. She dressed in all red. And I can't remember what she made, but it involved cinnamon and hot sauce. Because isn't that what Wrath tastes like? Habaneros and cinnamon? It worked out really well. It was a fun night. It was just a little something we did for fun, and it was remarkably Halloween-like. So some of you are probably wondering where I'm going with all this. That sort of fun is good in small doses. Okay? Taking a break from reality, taking a break from your life, is fine every once in a while. You can make the argument that we do that every time we pick up a good book or watch an engaging movie. You know, we're taking a break from life for rest and, recreation. But we will run into problems if we let too much of that stuff bleed into our real life. The extreme version of that is called escapism. Escapism is when you can't even deal with the reality of your life anymore. It's not a pleasant place to be. We owe it to ourselves to be invested in who we are as people, as individuals, for the sake of ourselves and those around us. That involves honesty, humility, and remembering what's really important in life. Because when you think about it, all that stuff is kind of bundled together. Don't we all have someone in life who isn't very good at that? Someone who pretends that everything is okay when it really isn't? That's not healthy. There's a quote about that I dearly appreciate. A problem ignored is a problem delayed. A problem ignored is a problem delayed. For the most part, problems do not go away by ignoring them. If anything, they get bigger. In our gospel today, there are 2 people. The Pharisee, the priestly holy man, he's the first guy. Now he's praying, but he's not praying very well, because his prayer is completely dependent on the idea that he is truly superior to those around him, that he is objectively better than other people. Well, effectively, that is the same thing as saying that you're Spider-Man. It's not true. It's just not true. No one is so great that they don't need the mercy and forgiveness of God. For that Pharisee, he was prideful. And pride is not real greatness. It's not true greatness. It's a mask. It's a mask that you wear on the inside, but it's a mask nonetheless. And even though everything seems great, there are problems underneath that mask. If you are like that Pharisee and you're not willing to look at your faults dead on, honestly, well, then they're going to grow underneath that mask like any other ignored problem. The other fella is a tax collector. Most of you probably understand that a tax collector was one of the most despised members of society back then. I mean, that's common sense, right? Who likes the tax collector? What you probably don't understand is that a tax collector lived his life in a precarious balance because they collected taxes from ordinary people, poor people mostly. If they wanted to show mercy, or if they wanted to, be lazy and just kind of stay in bed all day and not do their job, the rich leaders they worked for, they would take the difference out of that tax collector's family funds personally. So what this means is a tax collector lived a pretty good life. They lived, a middle-class lifestyle, I imagine we call it today. But they were perpetually in fear of losing everything if they didn't collect every last penny that was owed the government. And so it wouldn't be completely ridiculous for a tax collector to paint themselves as a victim. Like, hey, everybody, I'm a victim too. Don't hate me. I'm just doing what I have to for my family. I mean, they could say that. It wouldn't be completely ridiculous. But when Jesus points to this tax collector as a model of good prayer, it's because the tax collector doesn't say anything like that. He doesn't hide behind the mask of it's everyone's fault but mine. What does he say? "Oh God, have mercy on me, a sinner." And Jesus is like, exactly. Because he's being honest. He's being true to himself, and he realizes that he needs God in his life for his problems and his faults. And that's why the tax collector is the opposite of Halloween. He's not pretending to be someone he's not. He's presenting himself to God as he is, warts and all. That's the phrase. So when you get down to it, this gospel reading is simply about the importance of being honest and transparent with God above all. So this Halloween, enjoy your candy, enjoy your parties. I hope everyone enjoys your costume. But remember, when the party's over, the mask goes back on the shelf in the closet to collect dust for another year. What remains is you, the real you. And I realize it's not always fun, but it's important to be yourself and to know yourself. The best prayers you can offer to God stem from that realization, and they pair very well with a prayer for gratitude and a prayer for mercy. Oh God, thank you for this day. And oh God, have mercy on me, a sinner.